Yep. So listen, we put up tonight's session that we are going to lock into is really interesting. It is one word that will improve every relationship.
Really?
One word that will improve every relationship. When I was thinking about what we should do today, I clearly heard this word, and I wanted to share it tonight. So I put it out on social media to see what you guys would say. And if you didn't get a chance to see that, you can post what you think the word is. People said, some people had a lot of words, Emeka, but no, should, divorce, trust.
Oh, wow.
Somebody else said communication. Somebody said intentional. Someone said listening. Someone said compromise. Somebody said communication. Someone said sex, of course. And all of these are true.
Are good words.
All of these are great words. They are great words that will definitely impact a relationship.
Yeah.
Somebody else is saying right now, love. Somebody says compromise. Somebody else said love. And so when it comes to words have power. Somebody says sorry. I love that. So we see honesty. We see covenant. We see sorry. We see communication. We see love. We see loyalty. We see conversation. We see understanding. All true. Praying.
Right.
That's right. All true. All great words. Words have power. Life and death is in words. Words speak life. Words have power and impact. So all these words are true, and we want you to keep those words into your marriage and in your relationship. But tonight, that none of those are the words. All right. Tonight, clearly, as I heard this word, and it was even confirmed today, because I didn't even share it with my wife until this afternoon, and it was even confirmed today that this is a powerful word. You want me to tell them the word or introduce the word? I'm going to tell them the word.
You going to tell them?
You told me to tell them earlier.
I said introduce.
Hey, I'm going to tell you the word. Here's the one word, and when you see the word, I want you to type the word down, okay? Boom, there it is. Empathy is the word. I heard it clear. I saw it. Why are you breathing hard?
Because it's so powerful.
Yeah. Empathy is the word. Everybody type it. I love it. Jesus. Together, God, communicate. Y'all going for it, right? Empathy is the word. Yeah. Everybody type it so we can get on the same page, okay? I heard this word, and then I found this video that I love that explained this word. I want you to watch the video, and then we're going to come back and talk about this one word, empathy.
So what is empathy, and why is it very different than sympathy? Empathy fuels connection. Sympathy drives disconnection.
Type what you hear.
It's very interesting. Teresa Weiss is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant. And
so good.
Qualities of empathy. Perspective taking. The ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective of their truth. Staying out of judgment. Not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do.
Yeah.
Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people.
Yeah. So good.
And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you can climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now. I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
It's so good. So good.
So that's Breen Brown. She's on Tech Talk. She's a great voiceover. I love her. You can listen to the whole talk. She is smart. She is intelligent. But I wanted to borrow this for the thought. I heard the word empathy, and I thought about how so many relationships lack empathy.
Yeah.
Not just marriages, but so many relationships lack empathy. People are self-centered, even when they don't want to be, by nature, want to prove their point, get their side across, get their side expressed, only see or hear things from their view or their perspective. And so when I thought about it, even our talk that we had last week, that was so good. So many of you have watched it over and over again on YouTube, just about Will and Jada and the entanglement, but really the consistency of love. I just thought about how in order to show that level of love and commitment to a covenant that's made, it's essential. It's absolutely essential that the only way you can get there to have success is if you have empathy, right? So empathy creates this this power that is absolutely necessary for people to be able to have the right type of relationship. And I think people are more prone to be sympathetic, which I love the video, more prone to be sympathetic than they are to be empathetic. And I remember when I was early in ministry, around 19 years old, my pastor taught me the power of empathy and the difference between empathy and sympathy, because you can't truly embrace relationship or help people heal unless there's empathy present.
I mean, the thing that I love about the whole word of empathy in regards to relationships is that, to me, it is like it's coming to a place that it causes you to, there's an opportunity to deepen the relationship. And when that moment comes, there's a choice. There's a choice that you can make, that you can empathize with somebody, or you can give them sympathy. And sympathy is not really going to do much more than kind of like put a Band-Aid on it. But empathy, to me, goes a little bit deeper, that causes you to have a deeper connection with this person that you're in a relationship with.
Yeah. So how do you empathize when you really want your way and your perspective? How do you empathize when you really don't want to see it the way that the other person sees it, right? So let's pull out these points. I want to hear from you guys. We're going to talk. Did you enjoy the video? I'm sorry for the echo, but listen, when you get to it, the first thing she said is empathy fuels connection, sympathy drives connection. So empathy fuels connection, sympathy drives connection, or creates a drive, or perhaps a disconnection, because it's you over there, I'm over here. Whereas empathy is, we're in this together. I care about what you care about, even when I don't care about what you care about. I'm learning. My wife and I have and are continuing to learn how to care about what we don't care about. Like, there's things that matter to my wife that do not matter to me, but I'm learning to make them matter to me because they matter to her.
And there's things that matter to him that don't matter to me.
There's things that, a lot of things that matter to her that don't matter, that a lot of things that matter to me that don't matter to her, that she's learned the art of trying to understand it, or at least put up a front. Is it okay to put up a front if you really don't care, but you're acting like you care even when you don't care? Should that be allowed and accepted in the process? I mean, in my opinion, I mean, I want you to care about what I care about. I want you to love what I love. But I know that sometimes you don't. But I do appreciate when you act like you do, even if you don't.
But I don't think that it's, I think that in a relationship, for the evolution of the relationship, that the other person brings things into your life that you necessarily may not want to be may not have even been introduced, but when you're open to this relationship and what it's going to bring you, you're open to the differences that you have, and to also to learn something that you didn't think that you would even like it. So some of the things that I didn't care about that you care about, I have learned to care about them
because I care about
because
them.
you care
but not
about
because
them.
You care about them.
Well, maybe because I just didn't know. I didn't see that side before.
But I'm just saying, I think it's okay. I don't care that I used to care that you didn't care about what I care about. Now, I just care that you care about it because I care about it.
Yeah.
I don't
feel
need
like that's,
you.
But I feel like that's caring about a person.
Yeah, but not necessarily. I mean, I don't need you to care about it the way I care about it no more. I would love it, but it's just not true. And I think that sympathy is going to create a distance between us because, like, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. I don't. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I don't. Whereas empathy brings us together to say, let me try to see why it matters. I remember the other day you were doing my get ready for bed routine, and after consistently doing it so long, I said, "Babe, why do you do that for me over and over again?" And you said,
"I said that I know that you like it, and I know that first of all, I know his love language, and acts of service is his love language. So one of them. But I know I don't really care about it. But I know that in order for him to see that I love him, I have to love him in the way that he receives love. And that's through acts of service. So yeah, I go and I do all of these things that I don't necessarily have to do and he can do it. But because I know his love language is acts of service, that's what I do because I love him.
That's right. And so instead of having sympathy for how I might feel, even if it's broken or hurt, she has empathy. It includes us and it brings us together. All right, I don't want to spend too much time on that. We got 6 to go. All right, here we got 5 to go. Here, The second one is, she said that empathy brings us into perspective taking.
Yeah. And I think it's just so weighted. I think that when you learn somebody's perspective of something, it just helps you to appreciate and understand them more. Understand why they do what they do, why they want what they want, because you understand their perspective. You understand, you just understand why they do what they do. And I think that a lot of couples are in spaces of arguments because they won't take a step. They're so busy trying to get their way that they won't pull back and say, okay, why do they want that? Or why do they act like that? And if you allow them to give you their perspective, be it right or wrong or indifferent, then you're able to see something that you weren't able to see before.
Yeah, and I think wanting to get their perspective is part of it, because it's like we're grown, we're adults. I see it my way. I want it my way. And usually in a conversation, I'm so busy trying to persuade you to my perspective that perhaps if I'm trying to persuade you to my perspective, you're trying to persuade me to your perspective, then who is going to give to try to get or gain the other person's perspective?
I think that is, I won't say a game, but I think it is something that you have to weigh in, like how much of it, and I don't want to say a deal breaker, but how much of it do you necessarily have to have in this quote unquote conversation or this thing that you're desiring? How much do you really, really need this versus the other person?
I need you to put your arm in there. That bothers me when your arm is cut off. All right. So listen, when you're trying to get perspective and you're trying to gain perspective, if I'm broken, if I'm hurt, if I'm isolated, if I'm lonely, and I want you to get in it with me, right? What if you caused the hurt? What if you are the reason why I feel that way? How do we have perspective taking and sharing perspective if part of the reason why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling then is caused by you or something you did?
Okay, if we go back to just like last week of them sitting at that red table and the way that Will navigated that conversation, and people say you could see the hurt in his eyes. It took a very mature couple to come to the table to say, for her to be able to say how she felt. I felt alone. I felt like you weren't there for me. Like all of that stuff, which caused me to come into this relationship with somebody else. And some of that's her perspective. And he got in there with her saying, I ain't like you, all this other kind of stuff. But she was able to, I felt she was able to feel that they kind of had that ride or die kind of relationship, that they were committed to each other and to understanding each other.
Yeah, but what about us? What about these people? That's I don't want to deal with. I don't want to go back to that. I'm saying here and now, if you are part of the reason why I feel the way that I feel, the cause of my feeling or the emotion, if I'm able to even articulate that. And in communication, we want to try to articulate that without pointing the blame. So I want to tell you that you're the reason without blaming you for my feelings, because they're my feelings and I'm trying to own it. Then how do I get you to share my perspective, see it from my perspective, especially if on the other side you feel like that you didn't do it or you're not. You understand the challenge? Because it's like, Mary, this is where the tension happens in relationships, is because it's easier. You and I have found out it's easier to join and share perspectives when it's them and it's us. But it's harder when it's you or me, and I'm trying to gain your perspective and it's me. Or I'm trying to gain yours, you're trying to gain my perspective and it's you.
Because you get defensive.
Exactly. Automatically you get defensive because you're trying to protect your own position or emotion. And like we always say, you could be right or you could be married. But at this point, I don't think it's judgment of if it's right or wrong. It's just, if I love you, I want to share your perspective. I always tell my wife, like I used to say to her, I say, look, if I come home mad and angry, I want you to be mad and angry with me. Not mad and angry at her. Just if something happened at work or I'm upset, like I just want her to be like, yeah, that's right. Why dare them? Just for the sake of joining in with me. It feels good that you're on my side or that you're trying to gain my perspective instead of trying to solve it, heal it, fix it, or having sympathy. Oh man, I'm sorry you had a bad day. I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to jump in there with me, get in there with me, because then it feels like we're in this together. So it's like, it's easy when it's outside. How do we do it when it's each other?
I just think that it's
and we're just being transparent, guys. We don't have all the answers. We're just talking through it.
I just think that saying your truth, like, I mean, I just feel like those are conversations or boundaries that you talk about before that happens, and just saying that this is my truth. This is the way that I see it. It doesn't have to be right. It doesn't have to be wrong, but this is how I am feeling. And I cannot ignore how I'm feeling because of how you might be feeling about how I'm feeling. Because if I do that, then I live in this world by myself, and I'm living in this prison by myself, and I'm not telling you the whole truth because it's about you.
That's good.
But if you don't tell me, and that was one of the things I would say to my husband, if you don't tell me about me, there's really no other person that's going to tell me about me. So here I am walking around the world with toilet paper stuck on my shoe, and you were afraid to upset me or make me feel a certain kind of way that you didn't tell me I got toilet paper.
But
on my shoe.
everybody's both sides not ready to hear
that truth,
and everybody's not able to articulate that truth the same time.
You might, but in order to get to empathy, you got to be able to be truthful. All
right, let's go to the next one. Staying out of judgment. You went there. So I just was like, let's go. Come on.
So this is a discipline. This is something that you have to just know that in the conversation, because the first thing when somebody is saying, if the person that you love is telling you that they feel a certain kind of way about you, about how you're making them feel, we automatically get defensive. We put up our boundaries. We put up all of these shields because we want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our integrity. That ain't what I meant. That ain't the goal. So then you start doing all of that, and then the other person is looking like, you're not hearing nothing that I'm saying. And I'm not saying that it really is your fault. It's just that that's the process that I got to go in order for me to get to the truth of it all. But if we don't take the opportunity and not to be judgmental, then we never get to the place. We never get to the place of truth.
But I want to judge it.
Hard.
But I want to judge it.
I understand.
Look at this. Somebody on our last statement, they said this. Look, they're judging. But what if what they tell you is not true? What do you mean? What if like they're lying? Is that what you mean? Like, what if they tell you is a lie? Because is it their truth or is it not true? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because
And I think when people say that kind of stuff, it's because their perception of it's like everybody got a different perception of the same scenario.
exactly. So is it my truth? And just because it's my truth means it's not true because it's not true to you. That's not perspective taking or sharing, right? And so somebody else said, look, they said it's hard if someone is defensive or sensitive. It is very hard, but it is your natural instinct to defend your position. And if you defend your position or you care enough to share it, you're going to be sensitive. What's the opposite of that? The opposite of that is that I do not care. I am not defensive and I am not sensitive enough to share my perspective. So I shut down. So either I shut down and tell you nothing and you're trying to figure out what's going on, or I'm willing to put myself out there at the risk of sounding defensive or passionate or sensitive. You know what I'm saying? And so remember early on, we get in them heated conversations and it's passionate. You're trying to share your perspective. I'm trying to share my perspective, and I'm trying not to sound defensive, but in the same sense of trying not to sound defensive, I am going to defend my position, as well as you would try not to start crying and get sensitive, but you're going to get sensitive because you are hurting in this process. You're hurting either because I hurt you, you're hurting because you think you hurt me. And so tears and defense and passion and sensitivity is just a part of like getting in the mix. And what's important is that we stay out of judgment, that we don't judge these emotions. Because the thing about judgment is the moment you put a judgment on the emotion, the other person shuts down, bag out, close out, and they never get back in the game.
And they never get to the truth.
They never gonna tell, because they start off telling you enough to see how you gonna handle you and if you can trust. Let me see if I say this, if they go off. If I tell them this point, how much truth can your relationship handle? How much truth can your relationship handle without judgment? Like at what point, how can truth be shared in the relationship? Truth and transparency and trust before judgment comes in and then shuts down the entire situation and scenario.
And you have to realize that especially when the conversation gets uncomfortable, that judgment comes to shut it down, tears come to shut it down, and that you never really get to a place in your relationship where you have this authentic truth. And the thing that when you come up against that judgment and that sensitivity, you have to decide, okay, I'm gonna give you some tissue, or I'm gonna give a moment and say, I don't need you to be defensive. I need you to listen to me. I need you to hear what I'm saying, because this is my truth. This is not something that I'm making up. This is just my truth. And I just need you to know what's kind of going on in my head, what's going on in my mind, because I need to share it with somebody. Because what is happening is that the person that is not sharing it doesn't even mean like the person that's listening to it. You could be right. You could have a right perspective and you could assist them. But if you shut down and start judging them, you can never help them through the process of coming to their better self.
Or you're not in it with them. Like the picture, you're looking down on them, judging what it is that they feel or how they're saying. And they're going to feel, again, they're going to feel like I'm over here and you're over there and we're not together. Somebody asked this question. Jimmy said, what up, Jimmy? Jimmy said, is it okay to shut down to avoid conflict?
No.
Never. I always say God calls us to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers, right? Peacemakers, sometimes to make peace means sometimes you have to have conflict to be a peacekeeper. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna be quiet. No, they ain't ready for that. I'm just gonna shut down. Here's the thing is, you're still having a conversation in your head. These emotions didn't go away. They're suppressed. They're gonna come forward in some kind of way to somebody at the most inopportune time, expressed in some type of emotion.
And their partner gonna be looking at you like, what is happening?
Or either not looking at you like what is happening because you shut down to avoid conflict. And you have to be careful, because I love that question because it has layers. Because one side says, don't shut down to avoid conflict. The other side said, if you're the partner that's always causing your partner to shut down because of conflict, you're teaching them a behavior that says you can't can't tell me truth. You can't trust me. I'm going to blow up. I'm not you. This is not a safe space for you to be 100% honest. One of the most valued and treasured, we just going to be all the way 100 out here, of my wife and my relationship is that I do not have to keep secrets. Not that I have any secrets from her, but I don't have to. She handles anything I tell her with a sensitivity, with a clear head, and an opportunity for us to exchange in dialogue. That is the most freeing situation. And we taught each other how to handle each other. She's taught me how to handle her. I taught her how to handle me. And what I mean by that is that when we get ready to share or express something to each other, we don't create this icky, sticky feeling where we feel like that we do not have a safe space, and our marriage has to have secrets in order to be protected from each other. We got to stay out of judgment. Can I be honest with you and stay out of judgment? Even if I don't want to feel how I feel, even when I don't like something that I don't like, and I don't want to not like it. We told you a couple weeks ago, there's been times in our marriage when I did not want to feel the way I felt, but I felt it. It was my truth. I didn't like it. I wanted to change it. I wanted God to change it about something that had to do with our marriage. I went to a counselor to try to talk about it. I fasted about it. I prayed about it. It would not change. It was just something that I wanted in our marriage that I needed to be honest about, and then have patience for it to have this opportunity for evolution. My wife did not put me in a position where I could not tell her that I don't like this and I want this. She understood it. She stayed out of judgment and allowed me to have the space to be able to tell that truth. And I always ask her, babe, where did you learn that? Why do you have this confidence? Where did you create this safe space in your head that does not put me in this place? Because if husbands and wives can learn to stay out of judgment and allow their spouses to be 100% honest with them, so many marriages can heal.
Yeah, and I think the way to be there, or to not, or I would have to say for me, is because I have to go back to what kind of husband I wanted and what kind of person that I want to be in a relationship with. And I wanted to be in a relationship with a person that would help me to be my better self. And when we say that, we forget that that better self is going to be on the brink of confrontation, that it's going to be confrontational for you to get to your best self. Your marriage is a mirror. So if you're looking in a mirror and you're not looking in a circus mirror, you're going to see what's really there. And your marriage is that. Your marriage shows you, yes, you got something on your nose. Your marriage will say your attitude stinks.
I'm sorry, keep going. We got some questions on the line that you're going to want to answer.
Okay. And you can't just ignore that. It has to, it is what it is.
Like somebody said, so how do you stay out of judgment if it's something you don't agree with? You don't have to agree with it. It's not your feeling. Who told you that you got to agree? I don't have to agree with your feeling. Listen, disagreement does not have to mean disconnection. It doesn't have to be a deal breaker. Disagreement does not have to mean dishonor. Disagreement does not have to mean disconnection, and disagreement does not have to be a deal breaker. I'm going to say it again. Disagreement does not mean dishonor. Disagreement does not mean disconnection, and disagreement does not have to be a deal breaker. When can we learn to disagree with people and keep it moving? You are grown. You can have your perspective. I don't have to agree. Yes, if it's a bunch of stuff over and over again, it will become difficult for us to walk together if we cannot agree. But it does not mean we cannot walk together and not agree. Right? There are things that we said up top. There's just stuff that I don't care about that she cares about that I got to learn to care about. I don't care. I don't agree. There's things she don't. If in case of an impasse, we have order in our house that says in case of an impasse, who makes the final decision based on who's most knowledgeable in that particular area. And we have mutual submission. And as the head of my home, I lead in that space, but that doesn't mean I always dominate the final decision because I may not have the most insight in that particular area. But if one of us submit to the other person, it is the onus on the other person to make sure that they follow through. And if they follow through and we make a mess, it's important that the other person creates a space
of grace.
Because you might make a next time.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like, look, I hope that helped. Listen, we got to keep going. What if you have stuff on your mind and you try to talk about it and the other person gets upset because the person didn't want to talk about it? Go ahead. Come on, jump in. We got to go.
It is what it is. And to me, marriage is a process, and it's building that muscle to be able to deal with confrontation and disagreements. And so you can't just be like, well, I said it and they didn't agree and they don't want to do it. No, that just means that the next time you just talk about something else. You continue to build it. With my husband, I was not accustomed to anybody telling me nothing. Do you hear what I'm saying? Nothing. I am the oldest child. I'm the oldest grandchild, and nobody told me nothing. I did whatever I wanted to do, and not in a nasty way. It's just that I was knowledgeable. So I didn't need nobody to tell me nothing. But my husband pushes up against me all the time in that space. Did I get angry? Did I get agitated? Heck yes. But I also had to be honest with myself in a quiet moment and be like, you know what? He's right.
If I go to a counselor and I have to tell a counselor a secret, I will pay the counselor to tell them a secret for them to hear my thoughts and not judge me. Do you want your spouse to have to go outside of the home to tell you a truth without judgment? Or do you want to create a space, even if you don't agree, to let them say it, to hear it, to expose it without judgment, and try to take their perspective so you can help them heal to the place, or find out how it got there, where it came from, or get down to the
because marriage is not a race. It is a marathon. Yeah. No one is going to win a prize, and we're not checking off lists of how many times I'm going to hear your disagreement, then I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna be up out of here. Yeah. It's a process, and it's something that you have to stay engaged. That red table was an engagement. They stayed in it. They did not go to different sides. If one person decides they do not want this marriage, guess what? It don't work. Right. But when both of y'all want it,
you got to work through it. And when you work through it, you got to get in it. I love the video. You got to get in the hole. You got to get down there. You got to get in the nitty gritty of your marriage, the good stuff, the ugly stuff, the nasty stuff, the stuff you don't want to talk about, the stuff you wish wasn't there, the stuff from your childhood, the stuff from your history, the stuff from your previous relationships, the stuff that came with the marriage, the stuff that came with the wedding, right? That you wanted the wedding, but you didn't. Now you're in the marriage and you don't want to have the same place. We talked about it last week. You got to create a place of grace in your marriage, and empathy lets you share. Empathy essentially says, if it was me, how would I want to be handled? Exactly. If it was me, if I was on the other side, how would I want to be handled? How would I want you to handle me? And that's what it does. We stay too long on that one, babe. Right, come on, here we go. Let's go to the next one. So when you do this, you recognize emotion in other people and you communicate it. The video said it. I'll share the video again on my page just so you can watch it. But it says, I recognize that emotion in others and I communicate that. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that when you recognize it, that you have to articulate that you recognize it. Yeah. I see that. I see how that could hurt you. I see how you could feel, how you feel about that, because then that lets the person know not only are you hearing what I'm saying, but you're listening to what I'm saying. And then that causes their defenses to go down. Yeah. When they see and they can hear that you truly empathize with them, you understand their emotion, you don't judge their emotion, you don't say, well, you shouldn't feel like that, I wouldn't feel like that. You don't do that. You're like, I see how that can hurt you. I want to get in that with you. I want to understand where you are. I didn't even see that. Oh man, I didn't even realize that could have made you feel that way. Oh no, I didn't really feel, I was just busy. I didn't know you translated that as rejection. Oh yeah. And some of that rejection is your feelings and not me making you feel that way. But yet and still, even though it's your feelings and I didn't make you feel that way, I can see how you could feel that way. And I'll do everything I can do not to make you feel that way if I know me doing that triggers you to feel that way, even if I didn't do that to make you feel that way. They are your feelings, but I'm gonna help you heal through your feelings by getting in there with you and say, I did that, and my doing that made you feel that way.
then I need to make sure that I apologize, or I see how that could work, or I see how that can work against us.
I make a note of it, that's something that's a sensitive space for you.
Yeah.
And I don't want to push that space for you. But, to even take it a little deeper to say, well, why did it make you feel that way?
Yes.
Because now
we in the home. Let's get in there.
Now that I'm in there with you, you understand that I'm in there with you. I'm not looking down. I'm not judging you. I'm in there with you. So now that I'm in there with you, you don't have to carry that emotion by yourself. I am in your life to help you process this, to figure out why is it the way that you feel the certain way that you do, because in the end part of it all, I want to be a carrier and a producer of your best self.
I want to do that over and over again. And that is my process. And that is my deliberate intent, because sometimes even in a marriage, we're so caught up in our own dysfunctional delusions of our own intent that we don't realize how what we're doing impacting the other person. I told you, my wife the other week when I had to say, babe, I feel like you checked out. What's going on? She wasn't trying to check out on me. She was preoccupied, and she hadn't even checked in with herself in order to even tell me what was going on, because she not only didn't realize how what she was doing was impacting me, she didn't realize how what she was doing impacted her. And I tried to just give her space to see what was going on. But after a week, I was like, yo, do you realize that when I reach for you, you over here, and when I come for you, you over there, and when I want to do this, you doing this? And she's like, no, I didn't really realize it. I said, well, what's on your mind? What are you feeling? She said, I don't know. Let me think about it. Then after she finished thinking about it, she's like, well, maybe I'm feeling like this because of this. And she was able to explain it, and it had nothing to do with me. I could have jumped in that and took it all personal, like, oh, why you treat me? And that could have just blew up into an argument instead of getting in there with her and saying, what's going on with you? Because something going on with you. How do I know? Because you not treating me the way you usually treat me. And I know I didn't do anything, or did I do something to make you feel that way? Because either way, I need to figure out what's going on with you, because you changed. And I only know you changed because you changed the way you handle me. And so by me probing and getting in there with her, it was helping her unearth her emotions. And it was important for me to stay out of judgment, or I would have never got it. I could have got in my feelings and took it personal and went to the other side. And when I did that, then that would have created a greater divide for us, because she didn't even realize that she was doing it. And I had to help her realize that she was doing it, because marriage is a mirror. Go ahead. What you want to say? You jump in there.
I know, because if he would have come to me and be like, why are you doing this to me? Why? And I would have been like, dude, what is you talking about? This world is not revolved around you. It's some stuff going on with me. But because of his approach, his empathy, his observation, and not coming of a place of judgment, that I would just reject him, that it allowed me to just be able to see something that I didn't see, because I was so overwhelmed with what was going on in me personally, that I was just kind of like just in a zombie land.
And it was hard, because initially I thought that it was me. And so before I even brought it to her, I was like, man, did I do something? Did I say something? We did have a hard talk at the top of the Monday where we had a very intimate conversation. I was like, man, I wonder, did that make her feel a certain kind of way? Only to find out that the more we dug into it, it had nothing to do with that. She just got into a bubble. And hey, we married, but guess what? You're allowed to get into a bubble. Maybe you just needed it for a minute. Just don't shut me out. Don't close me out. But at the same point, if you needed a minute because you didn't even realize it, I'd rather give you the minute or the space to process your own feelings than to be a little kid and take everything personal, like you necessarily did something to me or tried to do something to me in the process. So me recognizing the emotion in her and her recognizing the passion and how it hurt me, she quickly apologized. We quickly reconciled. And then I still knew that just because she was aware didn't mean she was out of it. She still was in that space, because the thing that she was preoccupied with or stressed about or concerned about hadn't gone away yet. So I just gave her a little space, gave her a little grace, and was like, hey, it'll get through it. And so as it gets through it and she starts now coming out, and the load, because she's carrying and processing, I do recognize she's my womb. So she's carrying and processing my activity. I'm working my stuff out in doing what I'm doing. I'm traveling, I'm preaching, I'm trying to come back and forth, take care of our family. She's holding down the house and making sure that this transition and where we are in life, that she does her role and her heart in the process. She's trying to hold that together while I'm getting to work it out. She's having to hold it down and hold it in. And so it's two different parts of the same thing. And what the enemy would have wanted me to do was to turn on her, turn on my partner who's trying to help me. She's just carrying it differently instead of trying to understand that she's carrying it differently. It's almost like when she's pregnant with my child. You know, I'm excited. I'm telling everybody, yeah, we having a baby and this, and the due date is this. And you know, the closer get to that date, she's still happy, but she like, yeah, we having a baby, but can you give me some pickles? Can you give me some water? Can you go to the store? Oh, can you put my feet up? Can you rub my feet? Yeah, can you can you give me a slushie? Right. And so we're participating in birthing the same thing, but my expression of it is different than hers. And because I don't know what she's feeling or what she's carrying, even though she's carrying something that we both care about, I have to still be careful that I don't point a finger at her in the process. Did we stay on that one too long?
No, because this is the one thing that I keep hearing is that empathy causes you to be on the same team.
Yeah.
When you decide that you're not going to be empathetic, then you automatically become your spouse's enemy. You are not your spouse's team.
Say it, babe. Say that again.
You become your spouse's,
when you decide not to be empathetic, you become your spouse's enemy. And if you become your spouse's enemy, you become the enemy of your marriage.
That's all I kept saying. Good, like, babe. how can we run this ball down the court if I'm fighting against you?
Yeah.
There's no way that I can do it. Somebody got to make the basket. So why don't I understand where if I see that you're a little tired or whatever, I don't be like, why you tired? We in the game. I'm like,
in this.
Let me help you.
You need some water? You all right? You need a towel? Let me help you. Let me get in there with you. Man, we running out of time tonight. My God, is this good? Are y'all good? We got 2 more to go. All right, we running out of time. That one was a lot. Man, so good, y'all rocking with us, though. This grown folks conversation. We in a grown folks conversation. You a kid going somewhere. You ain't got time. This owning your own responsibility and owning your own stuff in your marriage without making the other person feel a certain way. So we're recognizing that emotion in others. I see that. I feel that. I see that. I see how you could feel that. I get how you could feel that. Oh man, we ain't had sex in a week. I see how you could feel that, like rejection. Oh right. Man, you ain't touched me in 3 days. I see how you can interpret that as mad. Really, I wasn't mad. I didn't even think about it. Oh, and it's like recognizing that emotion and communicating that. Let's get to it. Empathy is a vulnerable choice. Woo!
It makes you extremely vulnerable because me telling you how I feel
is running out of time
and not knowing what you're going to do with that information, if you're going to hold it and use it so that we can better our relationship, or you going to hold it and use it against me.
My.
If I'm vulnerable with you, if empathy. I tell you my deepest secrets, if I tell you that whatever I tell you might make me look a little childish. It could just make me look naked and not ashamed. I wish I didn't feel that way. I wish I didn't have that problem. I wish I didn't have that issue. I wish I didn't have that desire. Right.
But I do. I wish that wasn't there.
But I do. I
wish I didn't have to say this.
And I had a conversation, and it was like the conversation it was a problem in a relationship. But I said to them, I said, the difference that makes things, I won't say make them easier, but causes you to stay in the game is when you look at the other person's perspective and you realize that sometimes what they're giving you is the best that they can give you. Does not mean that they can't give you anything. They can't give you more. It's just that based upon how they was raised, what they experienced, what they've been exposed to, that's all they know. So you are able, you're in this
and that's
position.
What you marry.
Exactly. That's what you marry. And you're in a position that you are able to produce more in your spouse, or you're going to allow them to remain the same, or you're going to cause them to even go lower. You have an opportunity that if you quote unquote feel that you're up in things, that when they give you their vulnerability, or when you see that they're not doing the things that you want them to do, take a moment and look back and be like, you know what? Let me think about your childhood.
Yeah.
Let me think about how it was when you were a teenager, because this just didn't come yesterday.
Yeah.
This is the way that you have been molded and shaped. And
Over time.
over time. And it's not going to change in the 5 years we've been married and you're 35 years old and you've been living this whole life. It's not going to change in 5 years. It ain't about to change in 20 years because it has been something that has been a part of you. But this is the thing. You cannot, just because the person is showing you a certain perspective of them, does not mean that on the other side that you don't continue to push that envelope. I am not telling you not to be truthful. I'm not telling you not to desire what you desire. All I'm telling you is to keep it on the table.
Yeah.
But what helps you to acknowledge and not get upset about your spouse is to think about their perspective, to think about what they've come through, to think about when before they met you, what were they doing? What was they experiencing? Because that will help you to not to take it to be so defensive or offensive by it.
Yeah, we talked about this. We talk about this a lot in Create a Marriage in the conference. We talked about how vulnerability is such a glue, such a the last thing that they said, and we're going to deal with this probably Thursday with New Life at Bible Study, and they were naked and not ashamed, right? And so many marriages are not naked. And not ashamed. So many marriages had the wedding, they got kids, they got bills, they got houses, but they are not naked. They get naked to have sex, but emotionally, they are not naked. They are not naked. And not naked because they don't want to be naked. They're naked because they don't want to be ashamed.
Right.
And some of your nakedness will prevent some shame, right? So it's like my wife and I talk about, my wife talks to women and she tells them how women always got an issue with their body. They always got an issue with some part of their body. Not all women, because some women are, bikini models or whatever. But I hear and understand that even those women have other parts of their body that they wish they were different. And so my wife always talks about how a woman has an issue with her body, and the things that she see as unattractive with her body, her man don't see it at all. He still want her. He still want to hold her. And she's turn the lights off and turn it down. He like, girl, turn these lights on. She's like, no, I don't want to turn the lights on. Because she hiding, because she don't want to be ashamed of whatever it is of her nakedness. And he's in love with her nakedness physically, even though she's ashamed of it. And until he learns to love every inch, every aspect, every part, every stretch, every part of her body, and affirm her and love her, that stretch mark there, that's my first child. That one right there, that's my second child. This right here, this is when we start eating good. We made some money, right? So it's like when he affirms every part and try to heal that shame in her, sometimes it works and sometimes she still carries the shame of her being naked. But it's like so many marriages are naked emotionally, and ashamed emotionally, because we are ashamed of our nakedness, ashamed of how we feel, ashamed of the secrets, the things that's going on in our mind, the things we look at in our phone, the things we want, the things we desire, the things we wish weren't there. But it would be so much better if we could be vulnerable and express that without the risk of losing you, without the risk of you judging me or holding it against me, that I can love you enough to heal, to help you heal. I can love you enough, because I can't always love you enough to heal you, but I can love you enough to help you heal the areas of yourself that that you are ashamed of, because there's so many marriages that are naked, but they're ashamed. What do you want to say?
Ashamed. No, I think you did great with all of that in regards to vulnerability and just, being emotionally vulnerable. But I just believe that sometimes when in relationships that one person is vulnerable and the other person can use it against them. So you have to be very careful when your spouse shares with you their vulnerability. And is it a place that they can safely trust? Even if you don't agree, even if you kind of want to judge it, you could just say, I never looked at it like that, versus saying, you did that? Really? Yeah. Just saying, I never looked at it like that.
Yeah. Because empathy is me choosing not to judge you and allowing you to be vulnerable. Because when two grown people get together that are independent, independent and self-sufficient, you have to create a need for vulnerability because you can't really do so much of it by yourself and without the other person. And you have to create a need for vulnerability to create some deeper level of glue and stick-to-itiveness in the relationship. And so empathy is a vulnerable choice. Empathy says, hey, I'm going to get in there with you, see it from your angle, see it from your side, see it from your perspective, and I'm going to be willing to do this without the threat or the risk of me going anywhere if you expose or tell your truth. Yeah. And I have to create that safe space in my house. What happened, babe? Why'd you? No. What are you feeling? You're feeling something. I could feel your energy shifting.
No, it's not
what's
shifting.
Happening?
It's just that I totally agree with everything that you're saying in regards to vulnerability. I just feel that it's such a superpower, and it can also be something that just plummets your relationship.
Yeah.
If you just handle it wrong. And I just feel that some people want to be vulnerable, but they're afraid of what they've married.
I could feel you had to wait there.
Yeah.
You had to wait. I could feel that is true. Because if I tell you the truth, and if I have to deal with how that truth impacts me, then what do I do with this?
You have to, because if I tell you,
say that at 9:55.
I know, that's why I was trying to be quiet.
I know, but I felt your spirit shift.
I just feel that
you felt the weight. You felt the heaven. Go ahead and speak into that.
I feel that some of you are you're holding a lot. Mm-hmm. And you feel like a prisoner in your own marriage. You feel like a prisoner in your house, and you feel like a prisoner in your relationship. And I pray that God gives you the courage and the sweet tongue to say what is your truth. Mm-hmm. And that the person that is going to receive your truth, that their heart is broken and open to receive your truth and not to be judged by your truth.
Yeah.
Because just because I feel a certain kind of way does not necessarily mean that you're a bad person. Yeah. It just means that as an individual, based upon how I was raised and what I've experienced, these are some of the things that I feel that I need. And if, as like my husband said, if I keep trying to suppress it and keep trying to find a ways for it not to be, because I'm afraid that you're not going to fulfill me. I'm afraid that you're not going to be what I need.
If I tell you the truth, and it is my truth and won't change, can you
handle the truth and do something about my truth?
And I gotta say it in a way out of love, not out of conviction or condemnation or pointing my fingers, but I have to say it in a way that you can hear me, say it in a way that you can receive it. But I have to be able to say it, and we have to heal and walk through it. Man, it's we out of time, and we hate to push it right there, but it's like that's what it is, is being able to feel with people. Mm-hmm. Can you feel? And this is for married people and single people. Yep. This is in every relationship. Can you feel with people? Come on, people. Can you feel with people? God, this is the day when the Bible said that the love of many will wax cold, that hearts will become cold. Lord, help us to feel again. Help us to cry again, care again, love again, trust again, be broken again. If it's not even my brokenness, if it's your brokenness, be vulnerable again. If it's your vulnerability, be empathetic. God, if you give us empathy, if you teach us empathy, teach us how. We have the intent to be empathetic, God. If you do it in our lives, you will heal all of our relationships. Relationships with mothers and daughters, relationship with fathers and sons, relationships with brothers and brothers, sisters and sisters, sisters and brothers, husbands and wives, children and parents. God, if you teach us to be empathetic, to see the other person, to see the other side, if you teach us how to drive this connection, how to have a perspective, teach us how to stay out of judgment, teach us how to recognize the emotion and communicate that, teach us how to be vulnerable, and most importantly, teach us how to feel. Teach us how to feel again, not just feel what we want to feel, but feel what the other person is feeling. feel through those perspectives. Please, God, give it to us. You will heal the home. You will heal the family. You will heal relationships. You will teach us. You will show us how to feel, God. And if we have these, for my single people, if you have these conversations, more of these transparent conversations before you get married, you perhaps will discover, you're still going to discover, but you perhaps will discover less of what you need to discover before. You'll discover less of what you need to discover. You'll discover less later of what you need to discover more before. You'll discover less later of that you need to discover more before. And so we're praying for every relationship, every person to create empathy. And basically it's the golden rule: do unto others as you have them do unto you. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and teach us how to feel again. Help us to be vulnerable again. Help us to grow in vulnerability. Thank you for hanging out. Some people checked out because it's grown, but when you get here, teach us how to feel again. Can you just be honest right there and just write that? Just, Lord, help me to feel again. I become, because we gotta go. You become so bitter. You become so bitter. You become so broken. You become so judgmental of somebody else. The last time I felt, the last time I was transparent, the last time I was honest, this happening, and you're penalizing your marriage because of this person. You're penalizing this person because of something that happened before, some brokenness, some space that happened before, and now you are in this place where you want deeper. You want deeper, but you don't want to go deeper. You can't get deeper. Go ahead, babe.
You can't desire deep and you won't go deep.
Deep, can't call it deep. Help me to care again. Because when you find yourself, and you got to be honest, I see it. I love it, y'all. Thank you for typing it. Lord, help me to feel again. Because when you get mad enough and you get disappointed enough, you're like, you ain't going to change. You be like, I don't care. I don't care. You don't care. I don't care. And you'll start checking out. I don't care. It ain't going to change. Ain't nothing going to be different. And you'll start not feeling. And you'll be married and numb. You'll be married and you'll be in a relationship and you'll be numb. You'll be numb to changing. You'll start settling for less. You'll start settling at the bottom of what it is. Oh, well, this ain't gonna change. This can't get better. And that's just because there's no empathy. There's no, you don't cry about it no more. You don't care about it no more. You're in it, but it's a prison and it's trapped. And God, teach us, help us to feel again, help us to share empathy again, and help us to have a sense of caring and a sense of love. We got to feel, guys. If we feel again and we connect again, then we can heal. We can heal. We can help people heal. We can heal ourselves and we can heal others. Go ahead. What do you want to say?
Because especially for our unmarried people, that you have to be able to feel for yourself in order for you to know what needs to be healed from yourself. And even as a married person, you have to feel for yourself so you know what needs to be healed. But if you have already checked out, if you have already, they're not going to do it, then you are matriculating that in your atmosphere. That you think that they're not wanting to do it, but you don't realize that the emotion and the atmosphere that you're setting is not causing them to even have a desire to do it. So you have to check yourself of what you want and not letting that go. That's what I'm saying. So just because they don't do it, you got to keep believing it. You got to keep, if this is the person that you're going to be with for the rest of your life, they should be able to have all of the answers for the rest of your life. And until you get to that end, they still have the opportunity to do it, to deliver. But we just got to have the grace and the faith. That's what needs to come back in our relationships and in my marriages. We need to have faith in God, that God is going to allow this person to be what I need them to be when I have faith in God. But some of our faith has been caused to be low because we've been disappointed. They say they ain't gonna do it. They won't go here. They won't do that. But they still in the marriage and they still checking in. They still want to make it happen. They just you have to make sure that when you're on the side of the person that is needing empathy, that when you are giving it, that you're not being judgmental. And when a person is speaking and telling you what is on their heart and their mind, you don't get to that space where you don't receive it because you're putting up a shield. All these shields we walking around in all these stores, some of our marriages is just filled with shields.
Ooh. And on that note, that was a lot. Tonight we went deep, guys. I believe that we heard from heaven when I heard empathy was the word. I could tell by your response, the passion. We're praying for you. Thursday, join us at New Life. We're going to be preaching to marriages. We're going to talk about relationships and more components. We want healing in your home. We want healing in your family. Single people, we want you to stay connected. We had therapy tonight. We took ourselves through therapy. We took you through therapy. We walked through it. We had a great moment. Single people, listen, we got something that's for you. Listen, let me say it first to the married people. Married people, if you missed Create a Marriage, we recorded it the last time we did it. So now Create a Marriage is video on demand. You can go and rent it on my website, jermoneglenn.com/JGCCAM. And you can actually rent Create a Marriage.
It was so good.
Watch it for 48 hours. You get to document everything on your own time. You can go do it. That's right. We made it as a class. You get all the sessions. It talks about vision. It talks about vulnerability. And it talks about values, the 3 components. It's a 2-hour session. They was begging for more. We heard some great stuff, but we recorded it. And then single people, we heard you. We heard you. You've been asking. You've been waiting. Drum roll, please. So single people, we got coming up on July 31st, Friday at 8 o'clock. Mark your calendar. Soul Sessions for Singles.
Come on, y'all.
It's free with registration. Free with registration. You got to register, but it's free. It is on July 31st at 8 o'clock. There is limited spacing, so you got to get there. Bring a single person, connect, tap in with them, and let them know. We are so excited. We're going to help you walk through some of this stuff. We promised you that we would do it. We're going to help you walk some of this stuff. You've been rocking with us on Marriage Monday, so we wanted to make sure, because we always say that healthy single people make healthy marriages. Healthy single people make healthy marriages. And so we want to spend some time with you, pouring into you. And then after Single Soul Sessions, we got another one coming up that we're going to do in August, talking about living single. And we're going to give you some quality things that you need while you're in your single life, so you don't waste your single life just waiting for your married life. All right. So we got something for everybody. If you missed, again, Create a Marriage, you missed it, you can watch it on demand. Go there, and Singles Soul Session is coming up July 31st. Everybody mark your calendar and tell. If this helped you tonight, and we know that it obviously did, because you rocked with us, you made us come for overtime. Watch us going off, because you are already sowing. Thank you for sowing, because your sowing is an affirmation that this is blessing you. Your sowing is an affirmation that this is rocking. Look at all the single people going crazy. Yay! Wow! They're excited. All right. So thank you for sowing. You can sow PayPal and Cash App Jermone Glenn. This means that you want to. Yes, my wife does has a PayPal. We do share it, but if you want to give it right to her, they asking for you. Go ahead and tell them your Cash App. Somebody asked if you have a Cash App.
Lady Glenn.
Yeah, Lady Glenn, Cash App Lady Glenn. We share it all. What's mine is hers, and what's hers is hers. All right, so that's what it is. But listen, we're so glad that you got connected tonight.
Yes, and you can also go to my boutique, because people always asking me about my earrings. So I have some earrings on there. And I'll have a couple of other items coming up every week or whatever. But thank you for those who have already reached out and purchased things on my site. But it is BBBIB Boutique. It is also on Facebook. So you can look there and go directly to the Shopify, and you can purchase there.
That's right. So we love you and we appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with us, for supporting us by telling people. Thank you for spending money with us, for sewing into it. Y'all blowing it up right now. Both the website is going off and the Cash App is going off. You know, we really appreciate when you sew, because that's you saying that we didn't just come to take, but we came to give. We came for an exchange for what we received. So tonight, perhaps we saved you some counseling.
Major
money,
counseling.
Right? So thank you for whatever you give and you sew. May be multiplied back into your life.
And may you have the courage
to have empathy.
Please
have empathy. All right. We're going to rock it out tonight with a little bit of old school, and just let you have a little bit of that for a little while. All right. So we want to make sure that you're good. We love y'all. Thank you for sharing with everybody. Can I get a physical address to sow by check? If you go on JermoneGlenn.com and look on the bottom of the Give tab, you can see the physical address that you can sow to us. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. For everybody that's sowing, I'm glad that it was good. This is our empathy song. It is You Don't Have to Cry by Renee and Angela. What y'all know about that, huh? Anybody know about that? We went old school. That means you ain't in it by yourself.
Right.
Y'all know this song? Huh? May you have courage to have empathy. Can everybody type it on the line? Say, I will have courage to have empathy. I will have courage to have empathy. To have empathy. Man, I've grown during this pandemic. Thank you so much, you two. Man, thank you. Oh my God, this was so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you too. Love you back. Yep. What's the website for BB again?
It is, somebody put it already down there. Yep, it's right there.
Boutique. Thank you, Emeka. So good. Just got married on July 16th. Need to talk to my husband about empathy. Congratulations. Hey, blessings to you. What y'all know about this song, huh? What y'all know about this?
They put it in.
Look at that. What y'all know about this? Hey, it's the empathy song. Hey. Hope we don't get flagged, but if we do, we're going to jam out a little bit. We already in the overflow, so we might as well. Thank you again for sowing. Thank you for your seeds. Thank you. They're coming through. Thank you for making it matter and saying that you care. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody that's sowing right now. Y'all be rocking for this last song, don't y'all? Y'all don't go nowhere. Y'all be waiting for that last song. Hey. Go ahead and share this. It's going to be up for just a little while. And then you can go to YouTube and watch it. All right? Yeah, it's right there. Come on, you ain't in this by yourself. Remember songs that used to be vulnerable? You ain't in this by yourself. I'm going to pull you through these times and help you be strong. You don't have to cry. Hey, please don't cry. You can be strong if you just hold on. Come on, I'm in this with you. Please don't cry. You can be strong if you just hold on. Hey, come on. That's it right there. Come on, we in this together. Hey, I will have empathy. Hey, you can be strong. Yeah, that's empathy right there. Check it up. When they used to have key changes in R&B music. Come on, that's the real deal right there. Hey. Yeah. Hey. People asking questions. There you go. That's where you go. JermoneGlenn.com for the single session. Everybody let you know. Hey, we're going to talk about singles, being single, sex, and soul ties. Hey, empathy. That's it. And to my married people, go get that creative marriage. It'll be good for you. All right? Hey, come on. We in this together. Love y'all. Peace. Try your eyes. Hey, it's rocking. We gotta go. Hey, come on. Hey, we got one more minute. Love y'all. I like this music. We gotta go. Hey. Hey, little old school for you. What y'all know about that? Hey, love you. Thank you for locking in. Thank you for sewing in. My future marriage is blessed. Come on, we gotta do the confession. It's 200 people still holding on. Let's do the confession.
Let's do the confession. Y'all ready?
All right,
y'all ready?
Let's go. I'm sorry. They like, no, we ain't leaving until we get this confession. All right, my future marriage is blessed.
My marriage is blessed.
She got me to say my marriage is blessed. My marriage is blessed.
My marriage is blessed.
My spouse and I
are
led by the Spirit of God.
And
when we pray together in unity, our prayers are powerful. And we get results. We make every effort. To establish the peace and harmony. In our home. Together we walk in agreement. And we are an unstoppable force. And if we get angry, we are quick to forgive. So that we do not have any strife. In our relationship. We are not self-seeking. Rude, proud, boastful, or jealous. Instead, we are loving, kind, patient, and we put each other's needs before our own. We trust each other. Yeah, and we trust each other, and we protect the sanctity
and we protect the sanctity
of our marriage.
God
has joined us together.
God has joined us together
as one. We will not be separated. Love y'all so much. Thanks for rocking with us. Peace. God bless you.